has many mirrors. Some reflect glory, some reflect grief, and some distort everything until even a crown looks cracked beneath the glare. This is not a fairy tale, it is a play, a long running drama staged beneath a glass palace where family is performance, suffering is script, and loyalty to the firm is measured in silence. This is the story of how the House of Windsor became a stage and how Britain and the world became its audience. It is the story of media, monarchy, and manipulation. It is the spectacle behind the spectacle. Welcome. This is Majesty Sussex Report, and I'm Antonio. Thank you for spending some of your valuable time here with us. Let's start with a question. Who truly runs the British monarchy? It's not the king alone, not the queen consort, not even the heir to the throne. Behind the pageantry, behind the gold threaded uniforms and Sumbers processions, sit men you'll never see. They wear gray, they write nothing, but they decide everything. The courtiers, the spin doctors, the press secretaries, and palace fixers, those men in gray suits. They do not swear to the truth, they swear to image. And their closest allies, who might they be? They're not the people, it's not parliament, not even the crown itself, but the tabloids.
I don't think she ever understood why her genuinely good intentions were sneered at by the media, why there appeared to be a permanent quest on their behalf to bring her down. It is baffling. My own and only explanation is that genuine goodness is threatening to those at the opposite end of the moral spectrum. It is a point to remember that of all the ironies about Diana, perhaps the greatest was this. A girl given the name of the ancient goddess of hunting was, in the end, the most hunted person of the modern age.
The tragic saga of Diana was not an isolated incident, but rather the crescendo of a toxic cycle that has plagued the House of Windsor for decades. From the post war lives of young Queen Elizabeth II and her sister, Princess Margaret, through the tabloid unraveling of Princess Diana and Sarah Fergie Ferguson, to the scandals of Prince Charles and Prince Andrew, and finally to the present storm that they have created surrounded Prince Harry and Meghan. The British royal family has been both victim and participant in an ongoing media soap opera. This investigative journey will explore how the United Kingdom, how their media, the tabloids, gossip rags, daytime talk shows, even social media, have exploited the monarchy's mystique and dysfunction across generations, and how palace insiders, the so called men in gray suits, have often colluded in molding these narratives. It is a story of psychological manipulation and invisible contracts, of heirs groomed to protect the institution at all cost, of spares feeling sacrificed and alienated, and of a dynasty Faustian bargain with a press that both sustains and sabotages it. Through key moments and figures spanning Queen Elizabeth and Princess Margaret's era to Harry and Meghan's exit, we uncover how personal suffering and family divides have fueled a lucrative culture of sensationalism, and how the machinery of profit and power keeps this royal soap opera running from one generation to the next. Let's go back to two sisters before the war, before the crown, before Margaret became the villain and Elizabeth the saint. Elizabeth and Margaret grew up in a world of tightly managed photographs and regal expectations. But even then, the media was circling. Margaret's love story, her one true romance with the divorced equerry Peter Thomson, was censored in Britain, while foreign papers whispered the truth. She was young, in love, ready to marry. But love, as ever, was an inconvenience to the crown. The grey suits intervened, the press exploded, and Margaret's heart shattered publicly for all to see. A whisper became a scandal became a legend, and Margaret, she became the first spare thrown to the wolves. In the early post World War II years, Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret captured the public imagination as young, glamorous symbols of hope. Media coverage in those days was relatively deferential. Official press releases and posed photographs from Buckingham Palace satisfied much of the public's curiosity. But even then, a hunger for more intimate royal news was growing. Princess Margaret, in particular, with her vivacious personality and romantic escapades, quickly became tabloid fodder avant la lettre. As one historian notes, official photographs and press releases couldn't satisfy the demand for royal news. To satisfy a fascinated public, newspapers reported on the good, the bad, and the salacious details of Princess Margaret's life. Sometimes this attention was welcomed by the princess. Margaret courted the press in an effort to garner the attention that she, as the Queen's neglected younger sister, craved. Other times, it was an invasive burden she detested. This love-hate dynamic between royal and media, established in the 1940s and 50s, set the stage for a new era of gossip and intrusion. One early flashpoint came with Princess Margaret's star-crossed love for Captain Peter Townsend, a divorced royal equerry. Palace courtiers, those men in gray suits Diana would later vilify with reason, moved decisively to thwart the marriage, fearing it would tarnish the crown's image. For years, the British press largely kept quiet about the clandestine romance at the palace's behest, while American and European outlets gleefully speculated. Eventually, a tiny gesture gave the game away. At Queen Elizabeth's 1953 coronation, Margaret was spotted tenderly flicking a piece of lint off Townsend's uniform. That gesture was a sure sign, the media realized, and soon papers around the world blared news of the forbidden romance. Public support rallied behind the young lovers, putting the Queen in an agonizing bind between duty and sisterly devotion. In the end, Margaret was forced to renounce Townsend to preserve the monarchy's strict moral code. It was a personal heartbreak and a public spectacle. Behind the scenes, this episode revealed the growing power of media in royal life. The monarchy's image managers had tried to muzzle the story, even censoring foreign magazines, but rumors became blazoned scandals. As foreign reports pierced the palace's veil, the establishment, from government ministers to newspaper editors close to the palace, had exerted tremendous pressure to uphold an image of royal purity. Margaret's sacrifice was framed as a dutiful necessity. Yet when her broken heart became public knowledge, it cracked the perfect family facade the Windsors had cultivated. In the scandal's wake, even respectable commentators admitted the press bore blame. Almost since the day of their marriage, the press took a prurient and intrusive interest in Margaret and her husband's private life, one journalist observed, calling the coverage our national hypocrisy masquerading as morality. The Queen, deemed too staid to be interesting, was largely spared such prying, but Margaret was reckoned fair game for our national hypocrisy. By the late 1960s and 70s, as Princess Margaret's marriage to Lord Snowdon began to collapse amid affairs and public rows, British media shed the last vestiges of royal deference. Society gossip columns sharpened their claws, and previously taboo topics, royal infidelity, marital spats, made their way into print. Margaret herself noted how the press had cast the royal sisters in Madonna and whore terms. When my sister and I were growing up, she was made out to be the goody-goody one. That was boring, so the press tried to make out I was wicked as hell. Indeed, alongside the semi-canonized image of dutiful Princess Elizabeth, the media had long cultivated Margaret's alter ego as the naughty minx, the willful younger sister. The archetype of the heir and the spare was thus born in modern media. The virtuous heir to the throne contrasted with the wayward sibling who could shoulder scandal. This archetype would replay painfully in generations to come. Crucially, the press's increasingly bold coverage of Margaret signaled a broader cultural shift. One detailed account in Frontline describes how her turmoil became the highway to a new, more raucous kind of press voyeurism, egged on by a new breed of editors unafraid to defy palace etiquette. The Daily Mail and Express, mid-market papers, competed to publish ever more aggressive royal reporting in the 1970s, shattering the old omerta about royal misdeeds. Soon, the mass circulation tabloids joined in with glee. The result? Rumors became blazoned scandals, and what was left of the old sanctimonious reticence was transformed into competitive ribaldry, as one observer noted of the late 70s press-feeding frenzy around Margaret's affairs. The monarchy's mystique of impeccable family life was irreversibly punctured. For the media, it was a watershed. The Windsors were now front-page drama, their private pain a public commodity. Yet, if Margaret's sad story ushered in the age of royal gossip, it also illustrated the perverse symbiosis between royalty and media. Feeling sidelined as the spare with no real role, Margaret increasingly used her black sheep image to garner the only attention she could. In later years, she even leaked tidbits about herself to friendly reporters, trading privacy for continued relevance. It was a harbinger of how some royals would learn to play the press to their advantage, sometimes with dangerous consequences. The stage was set for the next generation when the tabloid beast would truly be unleashed. once again, thank you for being here. Every time you watch, comment, or share, it means more than you know. I pour my heart into this work because I believe in it. And clearly, if you're here, something brought you too, and it's not my pretty face. If you haven't subscribed yet, this is your moment. Click that button. It's free, and it makes a real difference. And hit the notification bell so you will be one of the first people to be notified when something new and meaningful goes up. If you feel moved by what we're building, consider going a step further. There's a Buy Me a Coffee link and a membership option if you'd like to help us keep this going strong. It's like lighting a little candle for something you believe in. And whether you're here quietly or loud and proud, leave a comment if you can. It helps the message travel. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, and we are back. So, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this first part of this series? I was interested in trying to find out where and how the 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 media, right, the press, started to gain so much control over what the British royal family does, because it almost seems to me, and I might just be speaking out of my mouth, that it's the media, specifically tabloid media, that is signaling and narrating to the courtiers and the members of the royal family what their next moves should be. Like when this whole thing about, oh, the secret meeting, there's a secret meeting, there is a peace meeting, there's an olive branch, there is another branch, there is a fig branch, there is a something branch being extended. And I thought, well, first and foremost, like, we don't know what those people were meeting for. Yes, there's representation, right? But we really don't know. According to the tabloid, it's, a peace meeting, or arrangement for whatever. It could be that. It could be to speak about Invictus. It could be just something completely different, right? But what I find interesting in all of that is that here you have three people who are very media savvy, or else they wouldn't have the jobs that they've got. And they intentionally sat outside so everyone could see them. I don't know, folks. I smell potpourri. I don't know. I'm smelling some potpourri. That's what I'm smelling. So I just like take a seat back, I relax, and I'm like, let let it unfold, whatever it is, and then we will know. But it could be anything. So going back to what my question was, after that whole thing and the Sun and the tabloids had it all over, then you had, Miss Vine and all the others saying, well, he has done this to this and he has done that to that, and they're more offended than than the people who should be offended. So they are signaling whether the king should be doing peace talks or not, accept his son or not, who the banana republic these people think they are. You see, when you have spineless people who are your leaders, who are your head of state, your government, your king, your queen, your monarch, your whatever, you end up having this sort of wishy washy nonsense. Do you honestly think I am going to let some stranger who writes these fantastical articles or whatever, like invent things out of the air, is going to tell me whether or not I should be speaking to a member of my family so that we can find common ground if that's the case? It just, I can't I can't wrap my head around it that they're so pathetically dependent on what these people write about them. Like, it makes no sense to me. None. So that is part of what I was looking to sort of try and locate, where did this actually start? And as I kept going back, I was like, oh, right here, right? I'm not saying it didn't exist before, but right in this new era with Princess Margaret and the Queen, right? And that relationship with Peter, that whole salaciousness of it all started to, um, I would say, started the sort of fire for that sort of um, respectability between what you report on the royal family. That wall sort of that existed came down very, very quickly, because also what these tabloids realized, how profitable it was, right? So we see there with Margaret and Princess Margaret. You know what's really sad too, though, is having to live a life a certain way that I can just imagine how, perhaps, I don't know, but angry I would be if I was told the person that I was madly in love with, that I felt at home with, I couldn't be with them or couldn't marry them unless I gave up everything that I know of. So everything. No more any of this that I was born into. Everything has to be, I have to give it up. And some may say, well, love is love, you know. If you're that madly in love, give it up. I say bull. I say no, no, no. I believe in love. I love love. And love loves me, and I love love, and love. But love has a way sometimes. Love has a way sometimes of going in another direction, and you're standing there going, hey, 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 where are you going? Where are you going? Right? So you do have to think also about yourself and think about, well, yes, I love this person, but I'm giving up everything I know to be with you. What are you giving up? And I'm not saying, I sound very like jaded, and I'm not jaded at all. I love love, and I believe in love. I'm very romantic, but I just found it very, very painful, and to think that in just a generation, all those rules changed. All of them changed. Like now, divorce is, I don't know, the most common thing. So you couldn't be with the person you loved so much and that loved you back because of these rules and norms. And in one generation, all those rules and norms were changed. Can you just imagine? I would be furious. Furious. I'd be like, "Urgh." Everyone needs to suffer. But anyways, I really do hope that you um, enjoyed it. And tomorrow it's Princess Diana, Fergie, and we'll be looking at that um, relationship and how the media, the press covered all of that also, right? And the sort of animosity that they create, because that is what they do. They sort of separate. It's very abusive, very psychologically abusive. And I'm just, as I dig deeper into certain subjects, like learning about the courtiers and the power that these people have. Because yes, we see some of them. We know the communication director, or the right hand and the left hand and the whatever hand. But there's more of them that we don't know about, right? And the interesting thing to me is how they isolate. I mean, it's such, like, the perfect case for a really good psychologist, or to sort of go in and just diagnose everyone and sort of look at the system of abuse that exists in the firm, because they isolate the the heir and the spare, and what they feed to that one person who's going to become king or queen is very different than what they feed to the spare. So even if you were a nice person and they got hold of you when you were like 10 or something, actually before that, they're starting to feed you certain ideologies, right? And certain ways of thinking. For example, I mean, look at so many kings and queens thought they were divine, that they were gods themselves. And that stuff was put into their heads from a very early age. I mean, I'm sure there's tons of people that still think that they're gods, and all of that, but it's such an interesting thing. I don't know, for me anyways, I find it fascinating, because besides all the stuff that is happening in regards to the Sussexes and that family, for me, I always want to dig a little bit deeper to understand behavior, understand personalities, understand the sort of psychology behind it. And the more I get interested in something, and I do research, I'm fascinated by it all, because it is also very public. None of this stuff is hidden. Well, some is, but you can actually do research and find out so much, so much. Okay, okay. So this one is a good one, I think. And in the Telegraph, the story is by Hannah Furness, and the title is "The Secrets of a Happy Marriage." Do you want to guess by whom? Well, I'll tell you. By the Queen, the concert queen, or the Queen consort, the other woman in the marriage. There's three people in this marriage, and she's the third, right? So, are we getting advice now from Camilla? Well, I guess, I guess, I guess. Look, she was the other woman, a mistress, the cheater, the tampon lady, and all of that. And look now, people are bowing to her, calling her queen. I mean, listen, that, oh gosh, I want to say something so rude, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Not going to. Okay, so this is what basically the article kind of reads. It kind of I kind of summarized it here for us. So Camilla, during the state visit to Italy, reflected on her and King Charles III 20th wedding anniversary, sharing that the secret to their happy marriage is friendship, shared laughter, and simply getting on with life. She expressed surprise at how quickly the 2 decades had passed and described their relationship uh, as as often feeling like ships that pass in the night due to their busy public schedules. What? What? That's because they're not in the same bed. They're not in the same house or palace or something. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they're on different floors. King Charles also acknowledged the milestone during a speech at the Italian Parliament and again at a state banquet, calling the visit all the more special because it coincided with their anniversary. Together, I can't read today. Together, their remarks gave a rare glimpse into their personal bond framed against the backdrop of royal duty. I don't know why I find this so comedic and funny. I just look. We should we should be happy for any marriage that lasts, any relationship that lasts. But for some reason, I don't know. I'll keep what I'm thinking to myself. All right, enough about enough about that one. Okay, I think that's enough. Okay, I think that's enough. I had some more news thing that I wanted to actually let me do this one last one. So I was reading this, and it's in from Catalonia. It's this newspaper in Spain, and the way they had the heading, it was like Prince William was forced to um, uh, say out loud what's happening in his marriage. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? So I started to read, and the way they write these articles is that you have to go you have to read all the way down, and it's all this nonsense, blah 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 blah, just filler filler filler. And then towards the very end they tell you what the thing is. So the thing is that his dog that the dog sleeps in the bed with him and Kate. So that's the big thing. That's the big thing in their marriage, that the dog sleeps in the bed with Kate and William. And now I'm going to leave you folks to say whatever you want to say because when I read that, there was like 1,000 things that came to my mind. And I was like, oh, Antonio, 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 what are these people doing to you? Because, like, the things that I was thinking was not very nice, not very nice at all. So I leave that with you. I mean, one of them was like, "Does he even sleep in the same bed?" I think it's just her and the dog. I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Listen, listen. I'm just saying. Okay. I don't know if it's truth or not. I'm just saying. Allegedly, allegedly, everything is alleged and allegedly. All right, folks. For real, this is it. This is it. To all the new subscribers, welcome aboard. Thank you for being here. Thank you for clicking and subscribing and being part of our little choo-choo train that is doing its thing in this little corner. And to all of you who've just been here from the beginning, from the middle, from the center, from the left to right, and everywhere else, mwah, thank you, thank you, thank you for always being such wonderful, supportive people. To all of you, any of you, whoever's in the chat, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up and chatted and keeping me company. Love it, love it, love it. None of this is possible without you folks showing your support. Well, it means a lot to me, and I really appreciate it. So thank you very much. Now, it's hot, people. It's hot. So make sure you stay hydrated. Cookies and Cream, our Commander General, Sergeant in Charge, Cookies and Cream, always, always gives us the best advice, and that's to stay hydrated, okay? So, with all that said, take care of yourselves, be kind, love you all. Bye for now. Mwah.